Greetings, Earth Stars. Eliane-Nicole here, your astrologer and tarot reader. And now I am going to do a video on Mercury Conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. And this is part of a series of videos that I'm doing about Pluto in Aquarius. If you follow my astrology, or anyone else's astrology for that matter, you know that Pluto moved into Aquarius on Saturday, January 20th, which is really kicking off the beginning of a new 20-year era for humanity and also in our personal lives. And it's ending a 15-year chapter of Pluto in Capricorn that was very transformational in some area of our life, leaving that area, renovated, and now we're moving on to this other kind of energy. Aquarius energy is very different from Capricorn energy. And so we are getting to know it. 0 degrees Aquarius, where Pluto currently resides, is, it's 0. So a lot of it is imperceptible to the naked eye. But with these transits, we are being introduced to the energy slowly, kind of like in these waves. And we had, January 20th, Pluto moved in. So, I think that weekend, we definitely probably had a lot of signs, if you're tuned in to what these themes are that you'll be dealing with during the Pluto and Aquarius era. But many people probably are not aware because, again, it's still kind of beneath the surface, and that's fine. Pluto isn't like Uranus, where there's some lightning strike to your life that changes everything, or some big shakeup that changes it all. Pluto is slow and goes very deep and is very profoundly changing. It usually transforms through darkness, because it is through the greatest darkness that we are able to access and experience the greatest light. It's kind of built into the construct. And anytime in this video I feel myself going off on a tangent, I'm going to try and just bring it right back to the energy of Mercury and Pluto and Aquarius, because I will be doing a series of videos as each planet comes to meet Pluto and Aquarius. And really, that's what's happening right now. One at a time, each of the planets are coming and they're introducing themselves to Pluto, god of the underworld, Hades, in his new position at 0 degrees Aquarius. He's like the CEO. Pluto is billionaires. Pluto is powerful people. There may be people who are literally experiencing this transit as a new CEO in a position, who one at a time, each of the top executives or whatever has to go and have a meeting with. But metaphorically speaking, that's the energy in the cosmos right now. We had the full moon of Leo, which I recommend that you watch 2 videos that I did recently. On January 20th, I did the Pluto moving into Aquarius video. That's an important one to watch because I gave a lot of really valuable information about what Pluto and Aquarius means, and I'm building on it with each video. So that's a good one to use as the basis of getting an understanding and learning. And then the full moon of Leo video was even a good one because, and that was Thursday the 25th was the full moon of Leo. And so I posted that because that was the moon interacting with Pluto in a way. And so as each planet or luminary meets with Pluto and Aquarius, we on planet Earth are getting to know him better and better too, how he's going to be affecting our lives. And Mercury is the planet of communication. Mercury is the planet that controls our intellect, how we think, how we teach, how we listen, how we learn, how we speak. Did I say that? How we talk. Mercury controls media. He has to do with data entry and accounting and So Mercury is a mental sign. And Aquarius, I mean, Mercury is a mental planet, and Aquarius is a mental sign. So Mercury in Aquarius and conjunct Pluto, you know, at the highest vibrational level, it represents genius, really, you know. But as we know, everyone in our consensus reality is not operating necessarily at that highest vibrational level. But there are those that are. And for those who are, right now is a time where there are inventions happening, there are original ideas being formulated that are going to change humanity. And that is really powerful. And again, we may not see that yet as a collective because it's still at 0 degrees, but that's happening right now. And in the Aquarian realms, like technology, science, humanitarian ideals, consciousness, space travel, extraterrestrial communication, community, communal living, broadcasting. And I may be leaving things out because there's so much depth, and that's why I will be rolling this out in videos. I'm only putting the first few minutes of this video on Instagram, probably the first 7 minutes, then it will abruptly cut off, but the full video will be available on YouTube. And my YouTube channel is Eliane-Nicole. The full video will be available there. Instagram is hard to upload. Anyway, I'm going on now. So, Mercury conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Transits have a different meaning to the collective than they have to us on a personal level. For the collective, this 0 degrees point is, you know, it's the point of pure potential. And those who understand this energy the best are going to be in the best position to co-create with the cosmic currents that are at hand. Mercury conjunct Pluto in Aquarius is about the power of the mind, the power of our consciousness to create our reality. And we are going to be learning a lot more about that in the next 20 years. And it's going to transform our whole experience of living on planet Earth. And I believe that that is a lot about the conversation that Mercury and Pluto are having as they meet today for their first meeting with Pluto as the CEO of Aquarius, the new CEO that all the planets are kind of reporting to one at a time. And so Mercury, he is the traveler. He can go between the worlds, the underworld, and he's the messenger, the planetary messenger. So he's delivering messages, and they're talking about the vision. They are talking about the ideal blueprint for the future. Aquarius is the ideal blueprint, and Mercury is conversation, and Pluto, this is with a powerful person, a powerful force, maybe an underworld figure, maybe a billionaire, maybe a plutocrat, maybe someone who just has a very strong Pluto signature in their chart, meaning that they have a powerful energy. They have a Plutonian energy about them. And so as the collective, well, there's some notes I took, and usually I just go off the cuff, and the beginning of this video is my off the cuff part, but I want to just write down some transmissions I've received and taken notes on about Pluto and Aquarius that I want to share with you. So Mercury conjunct Pluto and Aquarius for the collective. This has to do with the collective consciousness, with collective thought. It has to do with futuristic thinking. Yes, Pluto and Mercury, they're talking about what their concept for the future is, for their concept for the long term, for the next 20 years. And in its higher thinking, or it can be, it should be. At its lowest point, it's stubborn, fixated thinking. And when Mercury is conjunct Pluto, it can become obsessive in thought. It can become fixated on something. That is one of the lower vibrational kinds of energies. And I just want to say that this is more of a collective experience, unless if you have a planet at 0 degrees Aquarius, this is going to be very personal to you. If you have a planet at 0 degrees of any of the fixed signs, so Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio, or Leo, this is a very personal transit that's going to be transforming your life in major ways over the next 3 years. It's a slow-moving transit and a long-lasting energy that completely transforms some area of your life, depending on the planet that you have at 0 degrees. If you have a planet at 0 degrees of any of the fixed signs, this is a wonderful time to get an energy. To get a reading so that you can consciously and powerfully co-create with the cosmic forces that are at hand as Pluto's entered Aquarius. If you have any planets at 0 degrees, Gemini, or Libra, this is a very empowering and uplifting time for you. And it's a great time for a reading too, again, so that you can consciously co-create with how this 0 degrees Pluto is personally empowering your chart and your personal destiny. But for people who don't have any planets at 0 degrees, the air signs, or 0 degrees of the fixed signs, Aries and Sagittarius, it's a very interesting, if you have 0 degrees planets at Aries or Sagittarius, there are opportunities here to really transform your mind and therefore your reality in just, powerful ways. But you have to recognize the opportunity to receive it, and you have to be prepared for the opportunity to receive it. So again, 0 degrees, Aries or Sagittarius, if you have any planets there, excellent time for a reading. But yeah, so this is about futuristic thinking. It's a collective conversation. So for the collective, you're going to see in the headlines what the themes are that are going to really be transforming our lives, the human collective, over the next 20 years. And this has to do with breakthroughs in technology, such as, but not limited to, AI and the effects that AI is going to have on our social systems and structures. This is a conversation about humanitarian ideals, a conversation about the ideal blueprint to the utopian future for world peace, which is the highest Aquarian ideal. This is the planting of the seed of inventions that will change the trajectory of humanity's future. This is about the power of the mind and the power of our consciousness to transform reality. It's a conversation about outer space, and it's also about extraterrestrial communication, with humanity. And so all of these are really the collective experience. But also Pluto is Hades, god of the underworld. So most of the time, he transforms our reality through what we perceive as darker experiences. And because we receive a lot of light, actually, through what we perceive as darker experiences. And sometimes from our limited earthly perspective, we can't understand the higher meaning for humanity's overall evolution. And so Pluto, god of the underworld, in Aquarius, we're going to be experiencing the darker sides of the Aquarian themes in order to transform and step up as a human collective. Pluto, god of the underworld, the dark side of science, scientific advancements, and these futuristic advancements and the darkness that brings to humanity, which I think is really on the top of a lot of people's minds right now. And that is something that we are going to have to deal with and confront and collectively negotiate to grow together. Where are we going to draw the line of the ethics of these darker sciences? And, the dark side of technology. As technology advances quicker and faster than we can keep up with, we're going to experience some of the darker sides of that. And it's up to us as a collective to explore, how are we going to meet that? How are we going to, deal with that? These are the things, I mean, this isn't an overnight answer. These are deep, like philosophical, collective soul questions that we're going to be going through many, experiences together to really dig deep and get to the bottom of what the answers are for us. And as the human collective goes through it, and our personal lives will be going through it in varying ways. The dark side of idealism, Aquarius energy is all about the ideal. You could see it even going in. Everyone's like, oh, the season of Aquarius, harmony and understanding. Like, yes, there is the potential for that. We're at 0 degrees, the point of pure potential. And that is something to strive for, Aquarius is all about that ideal blueprint for the future. But at the same time, there are different ideals. And so that creates, because Aquarius is the sign of the mind and it's fixed air, it also presents the energetic landscape of people becoming very fixed in their ideals and very fixed in their thinking and their thoughts. And that's one of the darker shadow sides. And over the next 20 years, as Pluto moves through Aquarius, we're going to experience the shadow. But there are opportunities to reach the light through integrating and confronting that shadow. And that's what Pluto and working with Plutonian energy is all about. And anyone who has a strong Pluto in their chart, kind of has an innate understanding of this, or will eventually through the experiences of their lifetime. So the dark side of progressive politics, because progressive politics is progressive on both sides. Yes, in this Pluto and Aquarius era, I do think that we will go beyond, particularly in America, I'm talking about right now, even though I do read for people all over the world, and I do talk about from time to time world politics and the astrology for sure, because it's like we're all connected. And I don't know, some people really don't want to hear about politics and their astrology, and some people do. And anyway, I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole about that. But yeah, Mercury and Pluto meeting are talking about astrology. For one thing, Aquarius rules astrology, so I think astrology is going to become a lot more prominent in these next 20 years. But, what I want to say, and progressive politics are going to emerge, but that we have to deal with the dark side of that as well. And this video is getting long, and so what I want to focus on is that the Mercury and Pluto in Aquarius started building Saturday, February 2nd. It peaked Monday, February 5th, and it lasts through Wednesday, February 7th. Mercury is just zipping by, but it's his first meeting with Pluto, and that's why I did an especially long video about it, because their conversations are these initial conversations, I believe, will have far-reaching insights for us if we want to look into the future of what Pluto might mean in our life over the next 20 years as he's traveling through Aquarius. Another dark side for the collective has to do with surveillance and spying. And I think that as technology is quickly developing, more and more people are going to be having access at their fingertips to spying and surveillance technology, and that is going to be having a different effect on how we interact with each other personally and collectively. And I think that we're going to see a lot of that explored through the Aquarius-Scorpio square of the fixed cross. And yeah, Pluto in Aquarius, Mercury meets Mercury in Aquarius. Conversations about the fixed cross of humanity. Very important cross, reflected in a lot of biblical imagery, referred to in the Bible often, and also in a lot of imagery, and also in the tarot cards, that fixed axis. And the fixed axis is the axis that is the most resistant to change, and Pluto is going to change things. You know, Pluto goes deep and demos things so that they can be rebuilt. And I've kind of gone off on a tangent in this reading, I feel like, but I'm just going to keep going. The dark side of new inventions, surveillance and spying, technology. So in context of just these few days, it has to do with the power of the mind. It has to do with deep conversations. It has to do with mind over matter. Personally, it can be experienced as very deep, concentrated thoughts, powerful focus, deep conversations. We are tuning into the frequency and the broadcast that we want to be on during this Aquarian era that's unfolding over the next 20 years, planting the seeds that will completely transform our brain or our consciousness over the next 20 years, transforming our way of conceptualizing the world around us. It can have to do with genius, it can have to do with stubbornness, mental fixation, or obsession. Yeah, Pluto and Mercury conjoining can bring up obsession on a lower vibrational level. People can be obsessing on a certain thought, on a certain person, on a certain situation. But on the higher vibrational end, it has to do with powerful original ideas, inventions, independent thinking, thinking out of the box, you know, new ideas or inventions or ways of thinking that can powerfully transform the group that we're a part of, whether that group is our family or an organization or a subculture or a community, a band, whatever. And I'm not going to talk so much about the aspects. I'm going to wrap up the video right now. I talked about the collective, I talked about the personal, and there's always more to say. Again, if you have any planets in your chart at 0 degrees of Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, or Leo, really important time for a reading. If you have any planets at 0 degrees, Libra or Gemini, really powerful time for a reading. I'd say actually in the first 3 degrees, 0 through 3 degrees of any of the fixed signs, any of the air signs, or even Aries, Sagittarius. Really important time to have your own chart read. And to end, I am pulling a card. This is a card that is meant for people who watched the whole video. If you did, the universe has sent this card and this message as a special message to you. And it's from the Afro Tarot, which I recently found out this tarot has been discontinued, so I'm so happy I have it. It's one of the most beautiful decks. And here is your message if you made it to the end. It's the Page of Cups. He's reversed. But the Page of Cups has to do with the budding of new love, of new hope, of new inspiration. When he's reversed, there could be something that is blocking that or delaying it currently. And the meditation might be, how can we turn that around? This is a very Pisces energy card, so it reminds me of Saturn and Pisces right now, and just where do we need to be experiencing some emotional maturity, maybe where do we need to be dealing with an addiction. Anyway, yeah, the Page of Cups and Pisces reversed. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a 25-minute video in its entirety. Please contact me for your own personal reading, empresseliane@gmail.com, or follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.Eliane-Nicole. Hit the contact button under the profile bio. and it will take you to an email address for me, and I will put it down in the notes of my YouTube. Thank you.